Greetings folks, here we have some excellent products from ZOHD. We have the Kopilot Lite Autopilot and the VC400 FPV camera and video transmitter all in one. Now these little units are sort of specifically designed to go with the little Dart 250G, and I'll demonstrate that later on, giving you an FPV and autopilot platform that comes in at under 250 grams, which is pretty incredible. But a lot of people are going to be buying these to put on other planes, so I thought I'd demonstrate it on a beginner's plane like the Volantex Ranger G2. So in the box we get, this is the little GPS unit, and it is a Betian BN220 GPS, quite a common and well-known GPS. The Kopilot flight control board. We also get the little adjustment board and a little screwdriver for adjusting the little pots. The adjustment board is used for setting up what sort of plane you're flying, like a flying wing or a V-tail or a conventional T-tail plane. Just plugs in using that cable like that. You only use this for setting up. You don't need to keep it connected once it's all done, so you can save a bit of weight by removing that one. So we have an aileron pot, elevator pot, and the return to home / fence mode pot, and a set button here. Now by pushing and holding the set button for 3 seconds, I think it is, you can cycle through the 3 different types of planes, and by adjusting the pots here you can alter the direction and amount of stabilization on the aileron and elevator, and you can change between fence mode and return to home mode. In the fence mode there'll be a limit to how far away the plane can fly. When it gets to that limit it'll go into return to home mode and come back to your position and circle overhead, and you can vary the distance that that fence or that radius is. If you turn it all the way around clockwise like that, you're in return to home mode, and when you hit the return to home switch, the plane will turn around, fly back to you at a set altitude, and then circle around your home position. I think the radius is something like 50 meters, and the return to home altitude I think is 70 meters, but again I'll have to sort of just check that. This unit doesn't have an on-screen display built in like the iNav boards do. It's just a pure simple return to home and stabilizing and mixing board really. And I believe there is also a launch assist mode too, in which the motor won't spin until the plane is moving at something like 2 meters a second. So you throw the plane and it should throttle up and then go into return to home mode. But I'm a bit unclear about that. We'll just have to try that in the field. Now you can also set the Kopilot up so that it will go into return to home mode when you have a failsafe situation, like if you fly beyond the range of your radio, or if your radio fails or something like that, then the Kopilot will go into return to home mode and the plane will fly home to you. To do that you have to set that up in your receiver. So when you set up your failsafe with your receiver, you set it up so that the auxiliary switch is in the return to home position. Okay, connecting the receiver, you can connect via S-Bus. These FrSky receivers are S-Bus enabled, and a lot of other receivers as well. In that instance you just connect the S-Bus cable to the S-Bus port on the board, that first one there, and that's all you need between the receiver and the flight control board. If you don't have an S-Bus receiver, then you can connect via PWM, and they provide this cable here. It plugs into the PWM socket there. These are the signal wires. We plug them into the signal wires for channels 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And this is the auxiliary cable that plugs into channel 5. So along here we have signal wires for channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we've got power and ground there, providing power from the ESC into the flight control board and into the receiver. So now looking at the board, these are where you plug your servos in. There's the aileron servo there, elevator servo there, throttle there, rudder there, and we have an auxiliary as well. Now that's not the same auxiliary as this one here. That's actually channel 6. If you're using the S-bus connection, you get the option of using channel 6 on these pins here. So you can plug FPV camera pan servo into there and be able to pan the camera around, something like that. And we also have LEDs in here which indicate what mode it's in, whether the GPS is locked and things like that. Another very important thing to note is that this is the mixer board. This does all the mixing for you. You don't do any mixing in your transmitter at all. You only have 100% aileron on channel 1, 100% elevator on channel 2, 100% throttle on channel 3, 100% rudder on channel 4, and a 3-position switch on channel 5. Whether you're flying a flying wing, a V-tail, or a conventional plane, it's exactly the same setup in your transmitter, and you use the setup pad here to tell the board which sort of plane you're flying, and the board then does all the mixing for you. Alright, so I'm going to mount it in my plane now. I've got a little bit of a shelf here. The reason I picked this plane is that I've got easy access to somewhere to mount the board. I've got the double-sided sticky tape here. Take note of the arrow here, that's got to face towards the front of the plane. And we're going to stick it somewhere like that. Make sure I've got access to all the plugs, that's pretty good. And there we go, that looks pretty good. Once I've connected it up, I can just sort of pop my receiver up there. The GPS, have that coming out here and mount it up on top, or over that side would be better. And the setup board, I'll just leave that in for the moment, but we can actually plug things in too. So that is my ailerons. This goes there. Making sure the polarity is the correct way around, that's good. Here's my elevator. Here's my throttle. Here's my rudder. And S-bus. This goes in there. So that's all connected up now. I can... GPS goes up the top. Like that. So that's all connected up now, we're ready to start setting up. Time to set up the transmitter now. So I have a model called Kopilot. Go across to the mixer page and remember, no mixing, just pure inputs for 100% aileron stick on channel 1, 100% elevator stick on channel 2, 100% throttle on channel 3, 100% rudder on channel 4, and a 3-position switch on channel 5. And that's all set up now. We may need to reverse these weights if the control surfaces are moving in the wrong direction when I wiggle the sticks, but we'll check that later on. And I'll also set up some voice commands with that switch as well, so I know what mode I'm in. Return to launch.
Manual mode, return to launch.
And that will do me. Now I'm plugging it in for the first time. So we've got a green light on the receiver, that's working. We've got a flashing light on the GPS, which means it hasn't got a lock. We've got a red light there, which means that the adjuster board is connected. We've got a flashing red light in there, which means the GPS hasn't got a lock, and we've got 2 green lights on, which tells me we're in delta mixing mode. So I need to press and hold the set button to cycle through the different sorts of planes. So now the middle light, green light has gone off and the side light is on, which tells me it's in T-tail mode, so that should be normal. Yeah, my control surfaces are working okay now. If I press and briefly hold that again, it'll change to LED 1 on and LED 2 off, so that's in V-tail mode. So we need T-tail mode, so middle green light off. Now looking at the modes, you can see the green light on this side here. That's stabilised mode.
Manual mode.
If it's off, we're in manual mode.
Return to launch.
If it's blinking, we're in return to home.
Manual mode.
So we're in the right mode now. We need to make sure that the stabilisation is working in the correct direction. What I'm going to do is take the prop off, because anything could happen in this mode. Alright, we're a bit safer now, so connect it back up again.
Telemetry recovered.
So what we need to do is check that the stabilisation is working in the correct direction, and to do that, it's in stabilised mode. Watch how the control surfaces move, and if I lift the wing up, the aileron should come up. And that's going the wrong way, so we need to reverse that. Same with the elevator. Can't really tell. And I can see that the elevator's working in the wrong direction too, so I need to reverse these little pots here. So we're stabilising in the other direction. That's the elevator one. It's going all the way the other way, and aileron going the other way as well. Now let's see how we're going. So we lift it up and that's going up. Yep, that's working correctly. Stabilisation is working correctly. Not the elevator though. What did I do wrong there? Now the elevator's working in the correct way. That's coming up when the plane goes up. That's coming up when the plane goes up. So we know the stabilisation is working in the correct direction now. Now we need to make sure the control surfaces move in the correct direction. So I need to reverse the ailerons. Ailerons are working in the correct direction, and the stabilisation is working in the correct direction. You watch that moves up as we rotate up to counteract the roll. Ailerons are correct, elevator's correct, rudder is reversed. Okay. Now they're all working in the right direction. And now we need to sort of set the level for stable flight, and to do that we put it in stabilised mode and hold the sticks down and in for 5 seconds. If you find your plane's not flying level when you're in stabilised mode, you can redo that and sort of hold the nose up a little bit if it's dipping, or down a bit if it's climbing, or side to side if it's rolling. Okay, ready to try the Kopilot Lite in the Ranger G2. That will beep until the GPS locks. That's manual mode. So that light's gone solid and the beeping stopped.
Manual mode. Return to launch.
Should be right to go. Oh yes, we've got throttle control.
Return to launch.
We've got throttle controls in stabilised mode, so let's give it a toss. I'm going to start off in manual mode, which is the safest. Fly around in manual mode. Make sure everything is okay. I've got the throws probably too high. But should be okay, maybe. Alright, let's try some stabilised mode.
Return to launch. Manual mode.
So that's stabilised mode. Yeah, that's working nicely, actually climbing a little bit. Aggressively self-leveling. Ah, that's pretty good really. I could reduce the throws. Alright, let's try return to home. We'll fly all the way down here. Manual mode. Return to launch. So that should now climb up to whatever the height is. I heard someone say it was 70 metres, but that stuff isn't documented in the manual, so you just don't know. And that's now circling around. That's working beautifully. Downwind going a bit faster. Yeah, that return to home is working excellently. Alright, back to manual mode. Stabilised mode. Yeah, it works really well. I think I would tone down the stabilisation a bit, but it works fine, on full gains that is. So what I want to try now is the auto launch mode in when you start off and return to home. So I'll bring it in, glide it home. So far I'm liking it. Yeah, that's how to land it. Alright, I'll put it in return to launch mode.
Return to launch.
Give it a throw and it will do that. That's cool. That's a self launch assist mode. Put it in return to home, launch it, throw it, and it goes straight into return to home. Oh, I like that. Let's try that again. You'd have to put the throttle up to actually, do you? Let's try throttle down at 0 and launching. It's a bit of landing. So what we're going to do now is try the launch assist. So I'll try it with okay, I'll put into return to launch and throw it. I have to put the throttle up to the throttle level, obviously. Alright, throttle is on. Return to launch. And there we go. That worked nicely. Climbs up. Goes into return to home. That's cool. You could actually see when it kicked into return to home. Nice, I like it. Of course, what I need to do now is be brave and turn the transmitter off. See if the failsafe is going to work.
So for that I'm going to get up real high. Leave it in manual mode. Put it in stabilised mode maybe. Try and turn the transmitter off. Transmitter is off and it goes into return to home. There we go. See, transmitter is off. It's working. Excellent. Right, turn the transmitter on again.
Throttle warning. Switch warning. Manual mode.
And I have control again. Well, that's fun. That all works. Alright, I'll just do a quick demo of all the different modes with the Mobius on board. Stabilised modes. Hopefully you can see the ailerons compensating. Manual mode and return to launch. So let's go for a fly. Actually, I'll do the launch assist. Put it into return to home. Throttle up. And throw. And that will climb. And click into return to home mode. There it is there. That just clicked in. You can see it kinked. Now it's circling around above me. Still climbing, so I think it goes up to 70 metres. It circles around, radius of about 50 metres I'm guessing, or even less. Alright, so this is manual mode now. I can do whatever I want. And this is stabilised mode there. So let's try it inverted, then flick into stabilise. Okay, there's stabilised mode. So that's recovery mode, that's cool. And it's a self-level, it's a hold, or it's an angle mode. So you hold the stick at the angle you want the plane to fly at, then let go, and it'll fly level. That works nicely. And we'll do one more launch assist just because it's fun. And I suppose I should try fence mode. Put it into return to home, throttle up, throw. How cool is that? Not doing anything at the moment. Still haven't touched the sticks. Climbing, climbing, still climbing and circling, and back to return to home. Great stuff. Alright, so what I need to do now is put it on the Dart 250G and try it as it was meant to be tried. Well, one of the ways it's meant to be tried on the little Dart 250G. But that works great.